Keshav, welcome. Good morning. Keshav, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Where were you, dear?
Ma'am, yes.
Where were you? You were not there for the class yesterday as well.
Ma'am, there is some mic problem occurred in political science class.
Beta, even if there is a mic problem, you can always drop a message. Just listen. That's sufficient. You can always drop a message. Don't answer. But you have been very irregular these days. Please be regular. Okay, children, we are back to the chapter. Since it's a new chapter, we have just started, just the last period. So nothing much has missed out. You'll be able to understand. Okay, but you have to respond. This will not work out such a dull class. I hardly enjoy teaching when you people don't answer. Very quickly, how many powerful kingdoms emerged at this time?
Two.
Name them.
Rome and
Iran.
Rome and Iran. Were they friendly with each other?
No, ma'am.
no, ma'am.
So please be attentive. We are going to ask questions after this. They kept on fighting with each other. The Romans and the Iranians, they were rivals. They were big dushmans. They fought against each other for much of their history. Why they used to fight? Understand the reason. Their empires lay next to each other, separated only by a narrow strip of land that ran along the river Euphrates. The empires were very close to each other. Between both the empires, there was only a very small piece of land. Along which river?
Euphrates.
Basically, the name of the chapter was, yes, when I started. What was the name of the chapter? Very quickly.
Looking at the Roman.
Empire across?
Three continents.
Are we talking about Rome or are we talking about Iran?
Rome.
Rome. So mainly we'll be studying about Iran, but side by side, we'll also be keeping an eye on its rival. And who is the rival of Rome?
Iran.
Iran. Okay. If you'll see this map better, you'll see the continents of Europe and Africa are separated by a sea. If you see the continents, which continents am I talking about? Europe and Africa. So both these continents are just separated. If you see, this is your Africa over here and the Europe. They're both separated by a sea, which starts something from Spain and it goes up to Syria. Spain to
Syria.
Syria. Basically, you just need to remember that both the continents are separated by a sea, that is a Mediterranean Sea. What is the name of the sea?
Mediterranean.
Yes. So which is the sea which separates these two continents?
Mediterranean Sea.
Can you see this blue portion over here, this entire blue surface over here, Badasa? Can you see this? This
Yes,
is your
ma'am.
Mediterranean Sea. In the center, this is your Mediterranean Sea over here. Is it okay? Please see, this
Yes,
is your
ma'am.
sea. And this side you can see, this is your Africa. Can you see? And this side you have your Europe. So Europe and Africa are separated by this sea. What is the name of this sea?
Mediterranean Sea.
Yes, Peter. Both of them separated by Mediterranean Sea. It is the heart of Rome's empire. Rome dominated the Mediterranean and all the regions around the sea in both the directions, north and south. So we had just two powerful kingdoms at that time, Rome and Iran. But which kingdom dominated in the Mediterranean Sea? Most of the region of the sea was dominated by which kingdom? Was it Iran or was it Rome?
Rome.
Very good. It was Rome. See, if you go towards the north, the Roman Empire had two great rivers, the Rhine and the Danube. Two big rivers we had in the Roman area. Name the rivers. Rhine and Danube. Please pronounce them.
Rhine and Danube.
Yes. And they had a desert also across, that is a big, huge Sahara desert. Which desert? Huge desert over there. Which desert is
Sahara.
it?
Sahara
Yes.
Desert.
So there's a vast stretch of territory. Let me show you the Sahara Desert. See all this area over here below the sea, this side here. Can you see this lower part? This is which desert?
Sahara Desert.
So this entire thing is the Roman Empire. all this area dominated the entire area across the Mediterranean Sea. And this entire which desert area also?
Sahara.
So this is all about the Roman Empire. We have Iran also, the other empire. Okay. It had a control on the area of the south and the Caspian Sea. Okay. Let's go back and see over here. See, this entire area was with whom? This and this is with whom? Rome's or Iranians?
Rome.
Yes,
Rome.
beta. This was all with the Rome. The Iran was, of course, a neighbor, Arabian part, but they were not so powerful. They had less land. Okay. These two superpowers had divided up most of the world that the Chinese called as Tachin. Now we call this area, the western area of the map of the world is called Tachin area by the Chinese. What do Chinese call the western area?
Tachin.
In present day world map, when we talk about the West, the Chinese call it as Tachin. Basically, this entire West was dominated by only two kingdoms at that time. Which were the two kingdoms?
Rome and Iran.
Yes, it was Rome and Iran only. They were both neighbors, and were they friendly with each other?
No,
No, ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. Let's talk about the Roman Empire first, then we'll talk about the rival. The Roman Empire can broadly be divided into two phases, the early and the late. Just to make our study easy, first we'll study about the early Roman Empire, and then we'll move on to the later empire. A major difference between the two superpowers in the respective empires was that the Roman Empire was culturally diverse than that of Iran. So the first difference is coming now. First difference basically we have done. Which one was more powerful, Rome or Iran?
Rome.
Which
Rome.
one had a larger area?
Rome.
Rome. So two differences we have already got. See the third difference, major difference. Roman Empire was culturally diverse. There was diversity in culture, many different religion, cultures, traditions. But this was not present in which power?
Iran.
Yes.
Iran.
In Iran, beta, first we had the Parthians ruling. Who ruled Iran?
Parthians.
Parthians. And later there were Sasanians. Who were the earliest rulers of Iran?
Parthians.
Very good. If you speak out, you'll remember the names. They're a little difficult for you as of now. And later the Parthians were replaced by
Sasanians.
Yes, beta. So basically, we just had these two kingdoms. They were ruling the entire Iran. The entire Iranian territory was being ruled by them only. But the Roman Empire had a mosaic of territories. Mosaic, I told you, combination of different things. So here we had a mosaic of territories and cultures. Many languages were spoken in the empire, many languages. But administrative language was Latin and Greek. The most commonly used languages in Rome were which two languages?
Latin and Greek.
Latin and Greek.
But there was a mosaic culture. There were many languages which were spoken, but for official use, these two languages were there. The upper class who lived in the eastern area wrote in Greek language. Those who were living in the eastern area, the upper class, the rich people, they used to speak which language? The Greek language. And the poor class who were living in the west area spoke Latin. So inside only you have divisions. The upper class who were living in which area? East or west?
East.
They spoke which language?
Greek.
Yes, beta. And a little lower ones who were living in the west, they used to speak which language?
Latin.
Latin.
Yes, beta. Boundary between these broad languages ran somewhere across the middle of the Mediterranean between the African province of Tripolantia. Means in the middle area, we have a middle patch where there is a boundary of these east and west. Province of Tripolitania. What is the name of the place somewhere between middle of east and west? Province of?
Tripolitania.
They used to also speak Latin. So on the east, we had rich people who were speaking which language?
Greek.
Greek.
On the west, we had a little lower category of people, financially, economically, who used to speak
Latin.
Somewhere in the middle, we had a small province, a small territory, which was known as,
Tripolitania.
yes, here the people were speaking Latin. And another area in the middle, which is known as Cyrenaica, there the people used to speak Greek. So in the center also, beta, you had two provinces, and in those two provinces, one is speaking Latin and the other is speaking,
Greek.
yes. All those people who lived in the empire, they had a single ruler, regardless of whatever language they were speaking, or whether they were living in the east, or whether they were living in the west, or they were living in the central area. All of them had a single ruler only. So here there is a diversity. We saw the diversity. In eastern area, language is something else. In the western area, the language is something else. The regime established by Augustus, the first emperor. Who was the first emperor of Rome? What is his name?
Augustus.
Augustus.
Very good. Augustus. He was called the Principate. They did not call him as the emperor in the beginning. What was he called?
Principate.
Yes, Principate. Like the head of the school, we have principal. So something like that, Principate. Augustus was the sole ruler. He was the only ruler, the only person who had authority. The fiction was kept alive that he was actually only the leading citizen. Okay, we have evidence that he was considered to be a citizen only. He principes. If you look at this word principate, it comes from a Latin word which means princip. What is the word Latin word?
Princeps.
Like we say the first citizen. In India also, what is the word we use? We say first citizen. Okay. Similarly, here also, the most important citizen, the leading citizen is the king. He is not an absolute ruler. He is not the absolute. He is not it is not that he can do anything on his will. Only that he was considered to be one of the first citizens. This was done out of respect for the Senate, the body which had controlled Rome earlier, in the days when it was a republic. Earlier, Rome was a republic, beta. So like we have Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, we have our organizations. Rome was also ruled by an organization. What was it called? Senate. What was that called as?
Senate.
Senate.
Like we have parliament in India, which makes rules. So similarly, Rome was earlier ruled by a senate, a constitutional body for many years. Earlier, it was a republic, beta, for many centuries. So later, aristocracy started. That means the king system started later. Okay, the wealthiest families of Rome, later they became the authorities. Italian descent, mainly landowners, mainly people who had land in Rome, belonged to which descent? They had come from which place? They had what? Italian. Most of the Roman histories that survive in Greek and Latin were written by people from a senatorial background. It is clear that the emperors were judged by how they behaved towards the Senate. How good a king is or how good an emperor is, how they used to judge that how he behaves with whom?
Senate.
Very good. The Senate. The worst emperors, they used to consider some emperors as very bad, very worst. Those who were not friendly with the senatorial class. Those who did not pay respect to the Senate, behaving with suspicion or brutality or violence. There were certain kings who were always suspicious of the Senate. Okay, they were violent also sometimes. So these kings were considered to be good or bad?
Bad.
Yes. Many senators wanted to go back to the days of the Republic, but most have realized that this was impossible now. The Senate system is over there. Now we have which rule? Aristocracy was there. What is aristocracy? King rule. What do you mean by aristocracy, children?
King rule.
King rule.
Basically monarchy, the king rule. So earlier they had a republic where there was an organization like we have parliament. Now you can imagine it such a way that India is a republic government now. Supposing some sole person, some sole ruler, somebody comes king and he starts ruling. So what will happen? So whoever became the king will always be suspicious of the people who ruled earlier, because they will always feel na, that maybe people start supporting them, I will lose my authority. So there were different kinds of kings in Rome. There were certain kings who treated the members of the Senate nicely. There were others who were very suspicious of these people and did a lot of violence against them, means killed them or something like that. So how was it considered? Which kings were considered to be good? The ones who used to support the members of the Senate or the ones who were against the Senate?
Ma'am, who supports Senate?
Who supports Senate?
Yes, although the Senate system was no more there, and all the members of the Senate always wanted that what should come back? Which rule? Senatorial rule or aristocratic rule? What did they want?
Senatorial rule.
Senatorial rule. But they knew very well that was this possible now?
No, ma'am.
They very well knew that this is not possible because the king had become very, very powerful. Understand the background, children. Rome was basically a republic. It was being ruled by a committee, members, many members in the committee. That organization was known as, we call it parliament in India, the one which makes laws. What was that organization called in Rome? Beta, it was called Senate. What was it called?
Senate.
Senate.
So all the members of the Senate used to rule. They used to sit together like we have in Indian Parliament. But later we had the king system. So some kings, they used to support those members. They used to take advice from those. And these kings were considered to be good or bad?
Bad.
Bad.
Those who did not support the Senate were considered to be?
Bad.
Bad.
So Rome was earlier what? Was it a king rule or was it a republic?
Ma'am,
Republic.
Yes, Peter, earlier it was a republic. So all the members of the Senate always wanted that Rome should again go back and become what?
Republic.
Republic. But they knew that will it be possible?
No,
no,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Why do you think they felt now it is never possible that Rome will again become a republic?
Ma'am, because there is
Because the
the
king
king-
became so powerful.
The king had become very, very powerful. Now we had an emperor, then we had the Senate. Two things are already there. And the third was the army. There are three power points in Rome. One is your emperor, that is the king. The second is that organization, we were just talking about it. I told you to remember this name. Name the organization again. What is it
Senate.
called? Senate. And the third is army. Another strong establishment in Roman Empire was the army also,
Army.
beta. Very good. Unlike the army of its rivals in the Persian Empire, rival was which country, which territory? Who was a rival
Persian
of Rome?
Empire.
Persian Empire.
If you talk about the Iran, that is Persia, that is Iran we are talking about, they had a
ma'am.
conscripted army. Okay. Understand the meaning of the word conscripted and also remember that we're talking about Iran. We are not talking about Rome now. Iran had a conscripted army. Conscripted army is an army where people are forcibly put into the army service. Military service is compulsory. We still have this rule in some countries. As soon as a boy becomes 16 years or 17 years, it is compulsory for the boys to serve in the army for 4 years or 5 years, something like this. It is absolutely mandatory for them to serve. Such kind of an army. Do we have conscripted army in India?
No, ma'am.
No.
No, we don't have. Those who want to join army go. Those who don't want to join, they don't go. So, beta, we are talking about the rival, Dushman. Rome's rival was Iran. So we are talking about the Persian Empire. Which kind of an army they had?
Conscriptive.
Conscripted.
And the rules were very strict over there. What was the rule in that army? Every soldier had to put in a minimum of 25 years of service. Minimum. This is minimum. Minimum, how many years they have to serve in the army?
25 years.
25 years.
But Rome had a different kind of an army. It was a paid army. Largest single organized body in the empire, 600,000 by the 4th century. See the number of army they had, the member army. 600,000 soldiers were there in the army. It had the power to determine the fate of emperors. The army was so powerful that it was even considered that army will decide the fate of whom?
Emperors.
So if the
Emperor.
army supports the king will continue. If the army does not support, the king will not continue. Something like Pakistan. We still have it in now. In Pakistan also, it is considered that the military is always ruling the country, not the ruler. As of now also, if you read newspapers, you watch TV channels, you know it very well. The head of the military in Pakistan dominates Imran Khan. Imran Khan has to go with what he says. Do we have the name of the person? Head of the army, general, Pakistan. It starts from B. I'm giving you a clue. What is his name? General. It's General Bajwa. What is his name?
Bajwa.
He's considered to be so powerful in Pakistan that Imran Khan has to follow whatever he says. So that is army deciding the fate of the person who's ruling. Whenever the army becomes powerful, in Pakistan, we always have military coups. The general, he throws away the ruler and he becomes the ruler. Earlier, we had Parvez Musharraf. He was a general. So he threw away the ruler, whoever was ruling there. We had Bhutto thrown away. We had Ziaul Haq thrown away. So the rulers were thrown away, and who used to take over? The army generals. Who used to rule? This has been a trend in Pakistan. So this is like, understand this example I'm giving you to tell that army had the power to determine what?
The
Fate of
emperor.
emperors.
Very good. The fate of the emperors. So now we describe the difference in the army. 1 minute I'm giving you. Read and tell me the difference in the army. Yes, Beta, tell me the difference between both the armies. What kind of an army did Iran have?
Ma'am, conscriptive.
Conscripted.
Okay.
Conscripted.
They were forced to serve for how much time?
25
25 years.
Years. And basically, they were not paid highly. It was a forcible recruitment. But the scene was a little different. In which country? Which
Rome.
area we're talking about? Rome. They had a powerful army. How many soldiers? How many people?
600,000.
600,000.
600,000. And there's a clue which tells you that the army was very powerful. What line tells you that the army at that time was very, very powerful? What is the line?
The army determined the fate of emperor.
Very good. The army determined the fate of the emperor. Can I have the differences now? 1 or 2 differences from you people. Difference between 2 powerful kingdoms. Which are the 2 powerful kingdoms at that time we had? One was Rome and the other was?
Rome.
Iran.
Iran.
Yes, it was Iran. Now we have Rome and Iran. Now which one was more prosperous, more powerful?
Rome.
Rome. Can I have the differences very quickly between Rome and Iran? Any 2 differences which you can give me?
Ma'am, Iran has a conscripted army, and Roman has a professional army.
Very good. They
Mm.
had a professional army. So this is one difference that we are seeing. And let's move further and study about it, about how the soldiers were there, beta. The soldiers would constantly agitate for better wages and service conditions. What do you mean by agitate? What is the Hindi word? Like in Hindi, we say dharne pe baithna. That is what we call as agitation. Is it okay? Okay, it is called agitation. So the soldiers were so powerful that whenever they wanted, they used to sit on agitation, yani dharne pe baith jate the. And what they used to demand? Tell. Beta, they used to demand better wages. What were they demanding?
For better wages.
Means that means a higher salary and service condition, that will not work for so many hours or will not do this, will not do that. This shows that they had a lot of rights. The army was quite powerful in Rome. These agitations often took the form of mutinies. Mutiny means revolt. If the soldiers felt let down by the generals or even the emperor, if the soldiers felt that the emperor is not listening to us, they used to revolt, mutiny. Mutiny means revolt. First, they used to sit on agitation, that may be right now. They used to put their demands. If the demands were not heard, and then they used to do a revolt, mutiny. Our picture of the Roman army depends largely on the way they were portrayed by historians with senatorial sympathies. Now, historians have written this. Whatever we are telling you about the Roman army, we have got this information from whom? Army. Historians, na? Who has written about this?
The historians.
Yes, beta. Okay. The Senate hated and feared the army. Did the Senate members like the army?
No, ma'am.
They did not like the army because it was a source of often unpredictable violence, especially in the tense condition of the 3rd century when government was forced to tax more heavily to pay for its mounting military expenditures. The Senate did not like the army because they felt that wherever army goes, there's a lot of violence. And why they used to feel this? Because in the 3rd century, the government raised a lot of taxes on the people. People had to pay a lot of tax. And why the people were forced to pay so much of tax? Because the army was very huge and the army had to be paid salaries. So where will the money come from? So what did the emperor do? To get that money, he imposed a lot of tax on the people. And those people who used to not pay the tax, the army was very violent with them. They used to beat them up, kill them. So that is why the senators used to feel that the army is not good. It is very violent. So did the senators support the Roman army?
No, ma'am.
They did
No.
not. Because they considered that the Roman army is what? Very?
Very,
Yes, it is very violent. Okay.
yes, ma'am. It is
Why
very
did
bad.
the king, yes, Peter, why did the king increase the taxes on the people?
For mounting the military expenditures.
Yes. Obviously, we talked about members. How many people were there in the army?
600,000.
600,000.
Now imagine if there are 600,000 people, how much money is needed to take care of such a huge army? Plus the army used to keep on demanding also that raise our wages and all that things. So that is the reason. And whoever used to not pay, the army used to become very violent. So conclude, to sum up. This is the part we'll be doing today. The emperor, the aristocracy, and the army were the 3 main players in the political history of the empire. The success of the individual emperors depended on the control of the army. How successful a king will be, how powerful a king will be, it all depended upon what? It depended on his control on what?
Army.
Army. Many times because the army was so huge, they divided. Army के अंदर ही अलग-अलग groups बन जाते थे and there was a civil war. Civil war means a war between people of the same country. So army only because it was a huge army, supposing the army is divided into 2 groups and they start fighting with each other. So such kind of a war which is fought between the people of the same country. What is this war called as?
Civil war.
Yes, beta. Now see, except for 1 year, that is 69, 4 emperors mounted the throne in quick succession. Imagine how quickly the army was changing the emperors. In 1 year, how many kings changed?
4.
4. And this is because who was supporting and not supporting them? It was all the rule of the army. The first 2 centuries were on the whole free from civil war, and in this sense, relatively stable. If you talk about the first 2 centuries, they were very stable. There were no civil wars. Succession, who is going to rule, depended on the family's descent. Like the eldest son, family descent. Earlier, the eldest son used to become the ruler. So for first 2 centuries in Rome, there were no fights. There was no civil war. The army was not very powerful and the rule was very simple. That whoever is the eldest son, the family descent will start ruling. Succession to the throne was based as far as possible on family descent, either natural or adoptive. If the king had a natural son, then he would rule. And if the king did not have a natural son, then what is the other option which was given? Adoption. Which is the second option, beta?
Adoption.
Adoption. So the rule was very simple. An army had not a great role or interference in ruling. Army used to not decide who is going to rule in the first 2 centuries in Rome. Things changed after the first 2 centuries. In the first 2 centuries, the pattern was very simple. Whoever is the largest eldest son will be ruling. And supposing the king does not have a natural son, then what was the provision mentioned?
Adoption.
Yes, adopted son could take over, and army was wedded to the principle. Army used to follow them. For example, this king, Tiberius, emperor. What is the name of the emperor we are discussing?
Tiberius.
Yes. So Tiberius, the emperor, you see, we are talking the second one, the second Roman emperor. He was not the natural son of Augustus. If you remember, I told you the first founder of Roman Empire, which emperor it was?
Augustus.
Augustus. The second emperor, because Augustus did not probably have a natural son, so he took the adopted son. Okay. Who was the second adopted son? Who was the second ruler of Rome?
Tiberius.
Yes, very good. So Augustus adopted him for a smooth transition. So after Augustus, he knew that let me decide it who's going to rule. He did not have a natural son, so he adopted this child. What I'm trying to tell you is in the first 2 centuries, there was no confusion at all. It was family descent, family, hereditary rulers. Whoever is eldest will rule. And if the king did not have a son, he used to adopt somebody to rule. It is very clear over here. They've given you an example. The first emperor of Rome, what was his name, children?
Augustus.
Yes. He did not have a natural son, so he adopted who was the second ruler of Rome. Name him?
Tiberius.
Yes. Tiberius, he was the second ruler. External warfare was also much less common in the first 2 centuries. There was hardly war with other countries. See, there was no war inside the country. That means there was no civil war. They were not fighting with other countries also much. The empire inherited by Tiberius from Augustus was already so vast that further expansion was felt to be unnecessary. Why did Tiberius not go and fight with his neighbors and conquer more territory? Yes, read the line, answer my question. Why did Tiberius, the adopted son of Augustus, not go and attack different countries and increase his territory? Why did he not do this?
Because Augustus was already so vast.
Yes, because Augustus had already given him a territory which was very, very large. He
Vast
already had
land.
enough land. So he felt this is unnecessary. The Augustan age is remembered for the peace it assured and it after decades of internal strife and centuries of military conquest. When Augustine was ruling, the first ruler of Rome, that age is considered to be the age of peace, beta. No internal wars, no external wars, lot of land, people were rich, prosperous. So the first ruler, Augustus, at that time, Rome was considered to be the most prosperous. And that period is known as which age?
Augustan age.
Yes. Okay. Now, expansion started with here. Trajan's fruitless occupation of territory across the Euphrates. Another ruler came up now. The third ruler, Trajan. What is his name?
Trajan.
He uselessly tried to conquer more territories across Euphrates. Okay. So the first ruler was
Augustus.
Augustus. His adopted son was
Tiberius.
yes. Did Tiberius try to conquer more lands?
No, ma'am.
He was already very satisfied because there was huge land. Now we
Yes,
move on to the
ma'am.
third emperor. Third emperor, Trajan. What was his name?
Trajan.
Here the problem started. Now this third emperor, Trajan, he was not very satisfied. He said, no, I'm going to attack other countries. I'm going to conquer more territories. So he attacked areas near Euphrates. Okay. See this, he had a dream. This is Trajan's dream. Trajan is what number of king we have discussed just now? First, second, third.
Third.
Now let us see what is his dream. After a winter in Antioch marked by a great earthquake in 116, Trajan marched towards the Euphrates to Stesan, the Parthian capital, and then to the head of the Persian Gulf. See, he has reached Persia now. You remember Iran?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So he wants to go further. Okay. He was a young king. He wanted to explore more. He wanted to attack more areas. He wanted to make his powerful empire. So let's see what the third king is going to do tomorrow. But as of now, what we have done is we started with two powerful kingdoms. We are studying about two powerful kingdoms simultaneously. Which are the kingdoms? One is Rome and the other is
Iran.
Iran. Which one was more prosperous, Rome or Iran?
Rome.
Yes, Rome was more prosperous. Which one had a larger army and a better army?
Rome.
Yes. What about others? Please speak. How was the Iranian army different from the Roman army?
Ma'am, it was conscripted.
Yes. Minimum how many years of service they had to offer?
25 years.
Yes. Do you think the army was very powerful in Rome?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
In Rome, the army was powerful because they used to decide the rulers. Okay. What did the king
Yes.
do to meet the expenses of the army? There was so much of expense. How did the king manage the money?
Taxes. Give taxes.
Yes, extra taxes. And if the people were not paying taxes, then who used to do violence?
The people. They.
Yes, on the people, the army used to be very violent. That is why did the senators like the army?
No, ma'am.
Okay, beta, you can go for your next class now. We'll continue later. Okay, God bless you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
God bless you.